Today on Homeworthy, we're taking you to the Upper East Side of New York City for an exclusive look into the fabulous apartment of renowned wedding and event planner Augusta Cole. This gorgeous space doubles as her home and work studio, and Augusta was instantly captivated by its charming architectural features. Augusta's personal design style is effortlessly chic and refined. Her home, adorned with a soothing palette of greens and warm tones, offers a serene retreat from her busy days traveling to some of the most exclusive destinations. Enjoy! You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hey Homeworthy, welcome to my New York City apartment. Come on in. Welcome to my home and studio. Our home is an apartment within this old, beautiful townhouse that's been cut into a few different apartments. I totally fell in love with the place because of this beautiful stairwell, which you'll see as we go up it. And it'll take you to our home and office, where my team comes every day for our wedding planning and event design company. Welcome in. Here is our main space of the first floor. This is our apartment and studio, and I call this floor our entertaining floor. So this little jewel box that we found really works for us because it's super multi-purpose. As you come in, you'll kind of see how we've used the space. So it was super important to me that we had a beautiful welcoming moment. So when you come in, I envisioned a really pretty demi-lune, sort of under these pretty Murano sconces that my dear interior designer friend Beau Brown found for me. And I love a potted myrtle moment. So I try to keep these alive. It's a full-time job. But this is our sort of welcoming entry and a little special painting my mom gave to my husband and I when we moved in. And this is actually a piece of antique furniture that we refinished with this kind of high gloss gray and beautiful taupey velvet. It was less beautiful when we found it, and we kind of gave it an upgrade, facelift. And so this is my kind of welcome home, and it always sort of feels finished like this. I just love a little gathered skirt. It's ticking is always a go-to. You'll see it in my event design. You'll see it in my home design. I think it's just such a subtle, delicate touch. But also handsome, like not too feminine, but the ruffle gives it a little bit extra frill. So in concepting this room, we had to think about the three primary functions of the space. First, we have to receive our guests and make them feel welcome. But then we also wanted a space to set the table, entertain. This table has done many mock-up and design presentations for our clients. So it's a very sort of useful, beautiful moment in the room. And I'll talk about these elements and the dining room space in a minute. And then the living room, I went with this sort of all white, calm, serene, warm palette, so that guests kind of came in or our clients come in and it feels like a blank slate. And it's also very inviting and gathering. So it works if there are two of us meeting and we just want a little nook to chit chat and go through details, or I can have a big cocktail party, 12, 15 people, and we have a great time in this space. So we really needed to make sure that this one room could multitask, and I think the layout kind of flows beautifully for that. So the dining room nook, sort of framed on these windows here, is one of my favorite spaces in the apartment. These chairs and the table itself are actually a family heirloom. They were my great-great-aunt's tables and chairs. And then my mom, who's also an interior designer, she helped me with the little chair skirts and kind of giving it a little upgrade. But it was really special to finally have the right space to use this beautiful old table. And then in terms of the elements on the table today, I went really sort of easy and effortless. I love keeping a beautiful, like well-ironed, thick, kind of hemmed linen, just like ready to go. And it's such like a easy, soft, summer entertaining look. And then just use my sort of wedding china, my little Bernardo Louvre pattern, and this nice heavyweight linen. And then my my family silver, and then these beautiful San Juanes Oregon wood-handled knives. Glassware I love to collect. I'll show you some of my collection in a minute, but these are especially meaningful. I had them made in Murano for a wedding in Venice. We did 2 long tables in this amazing venue in Venice and had 4 different shades of blue glasses, and so I made sure to have my own little collection of them. And then I love just like a simple, clean water glass. And then the floral, quick trip to the flower market. This kind of early summer season is especially beautiful. And I wanted something sort of wispy and airy. So we mixed clematis and this, to be honest, I have no idea, but beautiful little purple flower. And just kept it simple. So these chairs came with the table, and this is a beautiful old, wood dining room table. And they were paired together, but it came with a pretty, old school cushion. So instead I wanted to give it some fresh life and did these really pretty kind of vanilla linen chair skirts. And they have like a nice box pleat, but not too frilly, but I think it really keeps them looking beautiful all the time. And it goes with so much. My go-to tips for kind of entertaining, in that word we all aspire for, effortlessly, is to, one, give yourself enough time. I think it's so important to preset your table the night before, the morning before. Go ahead and just check that fully off your list. Don't save it to the end, because it always takes a little more time than you think. Have your stuff pre-ironed, keep it stocked, like all of that, those are easy tips. But then just have fun with it. Don't take yourself too seriously. Like this table, for example, I knew I was going to use just the whites to kind of keep it all clean and cohesive with the room. But when I went to the flower market, I fell in love with these wispy summertime blooms. And I actually had a different glass in mind and a different finishing detail in mind. And then when I brought it into the space, because I had time to test run it, like it all came together, and I mixed in the blue glasses and I edited out something. And I just think, one, time is so important, and go to the flower market with your foundation already in mind. And then the other piece is have a great hors d'oeuvre set out in your living room. Like if you just have a candle lit and you have your little bar stocked and you have something for people to nibble on when they first arrive, when dinner comes out, it's gonna be an afterthought. So then that's kind of starts the evening off on the right note and a welcoming note. So one of the jewels of this apartment is this beautiful fireplace. All the molding detail. When we repainted and we acquired this space, painting it this kind of happy white was very important, because it just highlighted the scale and the architectural detailing, and then the high gloss or just gloss on the molding was important. And then kind of focusing in on it, we actually have a working fireplace, which is kind of a miracle in New York City. So this winter, we plan to dive into that. I've been hesitant, but my neighbor downstairs, Keith Langham, he always has his fireplace going in the winter, and it's like wafts this gorgeous smell, so I'm inspired. But we try to keep fresh flowers on the mantle and kind of use it as a focal. And over the holidays, it becomes a major signature place to decorate. And we're so grateful for the light and the natural windows sort of playing off of each other and making the room feel bigger. I love the old bones and all the character. I love old homes. I grew up in old homes, and I think they just ooze storytelling and kind of gravitas. And I love the scale of the ceilings and the molding. And I think it's just a beautiful kind of blank canvas for us to build on. It does kind of have an air of nostalgia. There is sort of old world allure and kind of a sense of, there's a cosmopolitan side to it that I think is just really elegant. But it also does feel like home. And the thing about apartments and moving around in the city is it's hard to find one that actually feels like home, and this one really does kind of have that character. So we found this apartment, believe it or not. My husband scored it on Street Easy. It was just a beautiful picture of the stairwell and a couple detailed photos of these mirrors, which came with the apartment, and some beautiful molding details. And he saw that it was a duplex and that it had 3 bedrooms and that it had 2 baths, and it checked all these boxes, but there was so little else that we had to go see it, and the location was fabulous. So he went to see it first because I was out of town on a job, and it was a mess. Like, it had been left to kind of not be taken care of. It had been somebody's place that they hadn't really utilized as a full-time home for many years. So when he went in, there was a lot of work to be done, but he knew it had natural character and things that I would love, and so he encouraged me to come see it. But when he opened the door, he said to me, like, Augusta, please don't fall in love with this, because it was going to be work, and it had kind of character and quirks, and of course I fell in love with it. So immediately I was fixated by the molding details, the mirror details, the height of the ceilings, the beautiful floor, fireplace, the big windows, and I could just immediately see this being a space where we not only enjoy our life, but we entertain our friends, and we host our clients and can run my studio out of here. So when we agreed that this was going to be our spot, we really worked together to figure out what we wanted to do with the space. And there was so much natural beauty to work with that we wanted to go sort of soft and keep the walls just a soft white so that we could really highlight the beautiful molding details and let these stars of the show, these beautiful 3-paneled gold trimmed mirrors, be a big part of the room and be a statement. So that's sort of the jewelry. And then we wanted to dress the rest of the room to be really versatile, very serene, and a bit of a blank slate creatively, because our world is, as an event designer, is full of color and pattern, and our clients have diversified taste, that it felt like a smart move to just kind of respect the beautiful bones of this space and then design a living room and an environment that could allow anybody to think outside the box and not to feel influenced by one certain style direction. So we went with this more kind of polished, tailored, white look. So while the space is big and beautiful for a New York City living room, it actually is quirky. Like, we've got these mirror-covered closets. Amazing. We have storage, and this one actually goes way deep and is incredible because it's our office storage closet. But we can't block these doors. We can't block that door. We have the stairs to contend with. And then you want to respect the fireplace and entry space. So while it's very open, it has a lot of things to maneuver. So we had this sofa custom built. I was inspired by a few different designs, and my husband has a manufacturing company out of Mexico called E&S Imports, and we were able to design this to spec. And then I work with an amazing upholsterer here in the city, and he beautifully finished this, with the direction of Beau Brown, my interior design friend. And then from this, we wanted to complement it with little seating nooks and different arrangements. So the 2 little slipper chairs I love. They're cozy. I found this at an antique shop, this fun little chinoiserie side table. But the really sweet detail on these slipper chairs is that the trim is in a soft satin, a white satin. It was a little bridal note that I thought Beau kind of creatively came up with. But what I love is while the room is big, you can have 2 people here chatting and feel cozy, or you can throw a party for 50 if you can believe it. We have a Christmas party here every year, and there's 50 people, hobnobbing and having a great time. So the sofa is extra long and fits mini, and then we have our little seating nook here. I love these high coffee tables. I love that they're a little bit more utilitarian and modern than other elements in the room, but we especially love showcasing our design-influenced coffee table collection. It's like travel books, design books, kind of vintage books on textiles. This is a great sort of resource library for us. And then you can entertain on the top and kind of can have hors d'oeuvres, throw a book out, do design meetings together. So they're really great utilitarian tables. This cozy chair is meant to be my husband's chair, lay back and have a cocktail at night. But I do think whenever we have friends over, it's the first chair people gravitate toward and they really settle in. So I'm not sure how often he actually gets to sit here. But it's a beautiful reading chair, it's cozy, and you get to enjoy through the mirrors like all of the room, which is really pretty. My design style is to be a bit collected. I love for things to have purpose or meaning and to tell a story, and I'd rather have less things that have something to say rather than kind of more things that we've just purchased because of how they look. So kind of all the elements that we put out, I can tell you something about, and that would take too long. But for example, this is this beautiful little match holder. It was a gift from a dear friend after an important thing happened for his life, and I always remember that. These are kind of beautiful antique looking glasses. What are they called? Binoculars? Whatever. Spectacles. And I've had them for a long time from an antique shop. This silver dish was a tray from my mom, and we share a love of antique silver, so we kind of collect that together. This I've had forever, my whole life. I've taken it from room to room. And then we have a lot of this Trinitate kind of white earthenware from San Miguel, where we spend a ton of time, and that's where my husband does a lot of his manufacturing. And then below here are just all of these collected books that I've purchased, been gifted, and just adore, and continue to stack them higher and higher. Like this is one of my favorite books, Life in a French Country House. If you haven't read it, you should. It's from Cordelia de Castellane, and it's all about entertaining in the French countryside. And then there's, William Morris and his amazing textiles. I have Christopher Spitzmiller's book, who I know has been on Homeworthy many times. There are just so many fabulous books, and this is definitely a favorite part in the apartment. So this is a kind of gallery moment in the living room. Again, imagining the space when it was just a totally blank canvas. This wall was like calling for something major. And so the first person I thought of was Kiki Slaughter. She's the artist behind this canvas. I commissioned this piece based on a couple smaller pieces I saw in her portfolio, and I just loved this sort of washed, breathy landscape. You could kind of interpret it as you will. And the happiness of the color palette, given that everything else was so sort of blanche with intention, this was our bright spot, our art moment. So the Kiki is the signature of the wall, and then we use these great pedestals, again, a modern touch and otherwise pretty traditional antique space. And I love to sort of decorate it with little homage to travel and things I love. So this is a particularly fun pedestal dish. It's from Puglia. We spend time in Puglia. I love going there for fun and for work, but personally, we go to this town called Grottaglie. A friend of mine who lives in Puglia introduced us to this ceramicist named Nicholas Fasano, and he's famous for doing these brush faces. And so we were touring the back of the studio where everything is made, and he just sat down in his chair and started painting this pedestal, and just like this, and hysterically, it's like totally my colors. I love it. So it had to come home with me, and I always treasure it and keep it out as art. Then these glasses, I also always keep out like jewelry. I think glassware is my more prized jewelry than actual jewelry. These are Murano glasses by Davide Fuin. We sort of, on our travels to Venice last year working on a wedding, we did a lot of local sourcing and sleuthing, like who are the artists behind these beautiful pieces that we all see and can purchase stateside. And we went to his actual studio in Murano and got to see him blow the glass and met his wife and spent this magical afternoon, and we're still in touch today, and anytime I'm there or have friends going, I try to connect them. But these particularly were just so fresh and beautiful. They're so light. I always keep them out for parties. I prefer to drink wine out of them. I think it's so fun, and champagne is great. And when I get them out for client meetings, one of my favorite stories is we had this father of the bride over. We were doing a big table mock-up in the kind of dining room space, and I had welcomed them in to the studio, and I was serving wine at the end as like a, cheers. And I said, gosh, I think everything tastes better out of these glasses. And he used them. He said, you're totally right. These are amazing. And had absolute respect for the Murano lightness. So always use these. And then these candlesticks, which clearly have been used. They're from Morocco. I was in the souk and met one of the great tamagrut dealers. Tamagrut is this particular treatment of the kind of verde green color on the earthenware. And so these also I have some other votive holders and containers, but these candlesticks always stay out and tell a story. I'm also a collector and sucker for a beautiful cocktail napkin. These are especially meaningful. These are beautiful ones from Los Encajeros. They were a gift from this last fam trip to Italy that I went on, hosted by some friends in the industry, and I will treasure them. I don't even know that I'll let people use them. They might just have to look at them, but maybe optimally they will, but they're beautiful. Okay, so before we go upstairs, we're gonna do a quick pop into the office, see how things are going, and then breeze by our little entertaining pantry, if you will. So people have made the joke that our bar is bigger than our kitchen, which I think by square footage it is. This is where we keep all of our entertaining elements. So I love glassware. I mentioned that earlier, and I love to keep sort of my glassware collection on display so it's readily available. The same Venice wedding that I mentioned, I had these made for our more contemporary party on the first night, and they're these really cool kind of bubbly Murani glasses. So I had to keep a collection of those. My husband is amazing at sourcing on auctions, like how lucky am I? And he found, all this cut crystal Waterford for me, which we've kept from, when we moved from Charleston to New York. We've also made some glassware. So we did some little etchings and details on blown glass in Mexico. I also love porcelain and china, and when I found these little dessert dishes, I just couldn't say no. So I keep them on display because I think it's all like art themselves. Oh, this is sort of cute. So you saw my Murano collection earlier. I wanted to buy the glassware set for me, but then I did shot glasses for my husband because he's a big fan of Casa Dragones tequila, and you're supposed to sip out of it. So sort of an elevated pairing, and it's definitely one of our party tricks when we have people over to the living room and we want to get everyone going. It's just have a little sip of the Casa Dragones out of these special glasses. Also in here is kind of all of our entertaining pieces. I have, let me see how it looks. I have a candle drawer with all of our candle components. My silver and cocktail napkins are here. And then we keep like napkins and place setting details. And then sort of below is just more and more entertaining layering options and vessels and barware. And I have a lot of stuff. I like to keep what I love the most out, so it's like readily accessible. And then because we have so little space, you have to stay organized and you have to edit. So if I had more space, I'd have more stuff, but I'm limited by my real estate. So, and then we come in before we go in the office. This is our little powder room. It's tiny, but if you pop in, we made a little statement with the shower curtain. We did a big sort of chintz Schumacher, pink and green, just happy. And then the little window is never very pretty in the city, so we did that fun little lace panel to block the less pretty window. Welcome to our office. This is where the magic happens. So we have an office for Augusta Cole events in New York, which is here, home base. And we have an office in Charleston, South Carolina on Broad Street. Our team here, Colette and Claire, we're here every day when we're not on the road. We love being in the office together. I know there's a lot of remote work happening, but in our creative field, collaborating, being on Zoom calls, working with our tangible elements, it's so important. So this is where we kind of work and we take our Zoom calls with our clients, and then we host our clients out in the entertaining space. We are doing events, a limited number a year. They're primarily weddings. However, we do social events and kind of cater to our legacy clients when they have party needs. But primarily we're doing weddings. Most of them are domestic, but about 20% are abroad, sometimes 25. Like this year, we just wrapped up our first wedding of the season was in St. Bart's, and now we're going to be heading to Provence in September and then San Miguel in October. But then otherwise, we're kind of jumping from different spots, either upstate or Texas or West Coast or Colorado, wherever our clients' parties take them. So by virtue of being in New York, we can literally get on a plane anytime and get wherever we need to go, and often are even doing quick day trips to see our clients and just make decisions and make stuff happen. But when we are so fortunate to be home, this is where we are. And we really focus on sort of a residential approach to event design. We love that our clients are typically influenced by interiors or their travels, and we try to layer in those elements by thoughtfully designing unique and tasteful and super experiential parties. It's always good to have a mood board so that you can kind of creatively get a snapshot of where your events are going and how the designs are correlating. So we line up our clients on the two walls and kind of keep textile swatches. Once their paper decisions are done and we have the physical samples, we'll hang them up on the wall. And then any other like kind of critical component that layers of kind of foundation texture or pattern, we keep on display. We also, use that as sort of just a palette reminder, but then from there, we love working with, custom tabletop, glassware. We make a lot of the linens for our clients. And then the overall ambiance is where we work with our design partners on really honing in on the kind of global aesthetic of the events, from draping to lighting to scenic builds and woodworking, and kind of making these very custom components within whatever space we're working in, whether it's a venue or a tent or in a field. So in the world of events, we're a firm believer that everything should be beautiful, it should run seamlessly, it should feel incredible, but it also has to be fun. Like, we're in it for an incredible experience, so we're always looking for little things to create a through line, to energize. And so this is a fun little example, a prototype. We're working on a party in Mexico, and you'll see how this gets rolled out, but it'll be a fun feature at an upcoming party. Okay, so before I take you upstairs, I'm gonna give you a sneak peek into some place that I never show anyone. I have this drape up here with great intention, and it hides our teeny tiny New York kitchen. So here's where truly we have our kitchen. And if you can believe it, we have a Christmas party for 50 people every year, and Aquilina Catering figures out how to make that work. So we can make it work if they can make it work, but we love it. And honestly, this drape is perfect because it just kind of keeps that space as a workspace, and it's totally functional. And our life is so outward, and we go out and we're on the go and we travel, that really it's the perfect entertaining kitchen. And when it's just the two of us at home, it works perfectly. So other reasons I fell in love with this apartment was the two-story versatility of the space. I loved that the first floor could be, very hospitable, where my team comes to work every day, where we entertain, where we host clients, but also that we can then escape up and have a separation between work and home and have sort of a living floor. So upstairs is where our bedroom is. We do have a casual den, kind of dressing area, laundry room, sort of the functional side of life. But what I'm going to take you up now to see is our bedroom. Welcome to my bedroom. I love this space. It feels like a little jewel box to me. The stained glass windows were definitely the inspiration for this, one being my bedroom, and two, they inspired this kind of dusty, soft lavender paint color that I was so drawn to paint this room in. What I love about it is it's lavender, but it's sort of taken on this like kind of neutral, and works as a beautiful layering piece for all of the pattern and warmth and texture that we brought in through textiles and different furniture pieces and in dark woods. So the chaise is definitely a signature piece in the room, and I love that first my husband was inspired to make this. It's really meaningful to us, but then that I got to kind of paint it with the textiles that I love. And I'll be honest, in my career path, relaxation isn't a top priority. We're really on the go. It's a high-paced, totally stress-free job. And so I thought if I kind of made myself a chaise and had a little area to kind of tuck away and relax, maybe I would start doing that a bit more. So the chaise is sort of always calling you to sit down, read a book, take a breath, and relax. And it also just makes this space so inviting when you come into it and know it's like time to unwind. Another element that I love of the space is this little vanity. I do my makeup here, and I do put on my jewelry and use it. And I love, again, a little skirted moment. The mirror top makes it feel a little bit more like retro, kind of glam. And I just keep it with a little touch of floral. This lamp is maybe one of my prized possessions. It's another Murano piece. I found it in an antique store while I was on a site visit with a client, and we all kind of popped our head in, and I swear it was like the lights were on and things were shining at it, like you need me. So I found this lamp out of a little corner and made sure it came home with me. And I love that it's kind of on the vanity as like a star. And then I love Majolica and just, again, more plate collection. So adding these fun finds sort of at this little feminine nook is very fun. The other sort of star of the room are these two built-in bookshelves, and they were calling to kind of showcase collections of things that we love, and it was also an opportunity to play with the palette and sort of anchor the earthiness and the collected nature of this room. I kind of have highlighted it with some elements from Puglia, a painting that we got on a trip to Megève, pictures of my parents, oyster shell plate from our time in Charleston, other elements from auctions that my husband's participated in, and then obviously sprinkled in some wedding photos. Planning your own wedding, I planned with my contemporary at a wonderful firm where I was before launching my own business, and we joke that we put it together over a pedicure because that's about all the time we had. But when you are in the world of party planning, doing your own wedding can be quite efficient, so that was fun. And that was almost 10 years ago. We're about to have our 10-year wedding anniversary. And then this bookshelf, again, has other sort of collections of things. I love the cabbageware, more Majolica there. And then a little picture of my grandmother, Jean. She's definitely an inspiration. She's in her late 90s and full of style and is still redecorating her home, and is definitely one of the kind of great mentors in the world of entertaining and design for me. So I love that photo of her. And then we just kind of roam right in to the vanity. One of the signature textiles that I just wanted a touch of because it's busy, but I love it, is this Raoul. And it just, again, brought that great lavender stripe through as a through line. And what's fun is like decorating a room like this felt very natural because it was almost like designing a party. You're playing with different things for different purposes, and you want a little touch but not too much. And it has to be a space you want to spend time in, not just for that one moment, but that is lasting and timeless. So I really love how these layers work together. And then the headboard, this is a headboard I had, and it was just in a basic linen, and I reupholstered it to match the bed skirt, and I love the kind of warm tone that it brings. These lamps, my mom actually had one of these lamps in our house growing up, and I searched high and low and I found a pair for myself. I love them. They're colorful, they're vibrant, they're punchy. And then this dusty Fermois lavender shade is really fun. Then to sort of anchor the top of the bed, I love plates, it's no surprise, and hanging a few collected plates that were in these sort of the palette of the bedroom. I found them on Cherish actually, and I love these, the small violet ones as well, the botanicals. And then this is a great anchor piece. Honestly, it looks antique. It's not, it's from Sewn, but I think it's just a great Oculus mirror. And then the bedding, I wanted to go just kind of clean and elegant, kind of fine Italian linens. And again, my dear friend and interior designer, neighbor, Keith Richard Langham, he introduced me to Casa Bianco. It's a gem of a linen shop on Lexington, highly recommend. And we kind of worked through what I wanted the bedding to feel like, and I topped it off with this Lily of the Valley embroidered Eurosham. So this is our bathroom. And if you come on in, you'll see we just did a high gloss pure white. That was a tip from an interior design friend. If you just want to quickly make a bathroom look better, go with the high gloss white. Then I used, again, my little shower curtain trick. I love this Schumacher Versailles pattern. It has that dusty lavender again. It's sort of tied into the bathroom. And then this sink is beautiful. It's like this French kind of brass-legged marble sink, and it came with the place, obviously. And we just sort of highlight it as a pretty little moment. I, again, kind of collect my splatterware from Puglia everywhere. And then, yeah, Matuk towels that are always pretty and fresh, and kind of keep it light. Home means a space where I want to have people over. I love having people over in this space, whether it's clients, my colleagues, my family, or our friends and host parties. And home is also where you want to retreat to. And I think we have spaces in this apartment that kind of service both of those things.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.